Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we are going to take a look at Darwin's journey. We're going to take a look at this from the solo perspective. And I'm going to show you kind of how it works, how it plays, and then let you know my thoughts. And then you will hopefully get enough information to figure out if this is the solo game that you want in your collection or something that you want to sail on past. So let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've done so already. And if you have, I truly appreciate that support. So a couple things. First of all, this game has kind of a sprawl to it, and you'll notice I'm kind of missing just the bottom half of my player board here and the bottom half of Alfred's player board. But I'm going to show you what's there by using this anyway, just to give you a feel for what's down there. But first of all, I am also playing on the expansion side, the Fire Island side, okay? So what that means is there are more things going on down here in this board. There's a time track. There are adventures you have to go on. There are different time penalties that you can pay and a slew of other things that add to the options of this game and slightly raise, I'd say, the breadth, although I would say does not really raise the complexity. There's just more to consider. And I felt very comfortable after my first game getting into the expanded side, and I don't see myself going backwards to the other game. I think this is a really good experience with the additional options. But anyway, what have you got going on in this game? This game is at its heart a very European style board game. You're going to be taking limited turns with worker placement. Depending on your workers you choose and the seals that they have, okay, those seals will tell you how strong the worker is. And the stronger the worker, the more fully they can take an action. And as you get different seals, you might get, for instance, 3 movement on the ship instead of 2 if you have 2 blue seals, or if you have a blue seal and a purple seal, which are wild, okay? And just to show you here what I'm talking about, if you look at this board, this is what I mean when I say, you know, the full board. Here you can see the bottom of it, what I've got going on. All right, so worker placement at its heart, and the different actions that you trigger with the worker placement are very broad in scope. So you can do things like improve your workers. You can do things like put down males or correspondence in these areas to do a little bit of area majority. And at the end of the round, in the reward round, or in the reward phase, pardon me, you will get some of these actions based on if you have the most or second most in any of those spots. You'll take like a reward action right there. You can explore the sea with this ship and try to keep up with the Beagle, which is right here. And when the Beagle goes across, basically every one of the 5 rounds, the Beagle will go to a new spot. And if you don't keep up with it, you get a lagging penalty that will subtract from the actual reward you can get at the end of the round. I should have flipped that after that. I'm about halfway through the game. I'm starting round 3. You can move your adventurers or your explorers. And as you move your explorers, they go to different parts of these islands. And when they land in the spot, they can take the action. What is different in this side with the expansion is they may cross these little ribbons with these tokens on them, which forces you to take an adventure. And what an adventure basically means, I'll use this one that I've already taken, you have to pay some kind of time penalty to get some kind of reward. And the rewards are varied, but one of them will always have this little token in it. And that token at the end of the game will score based on the total number you have, extra points, or you'll get penalized because there are ocean adventures and then there are land adventures. So the more you have, the more you score. If you don't have any, you'll lose a lot of points. When you cross over those, you're not forced to take that token, though you could get the other reward if you want. If you take that token, it removes it from the board and the other person cannot actually go on that adventure. The other things that you're really trying to do in the heart of this game is you're trying to get to these different spots that are represented by these circle tokens to take samples of a specimen, okay? And that's on this research board right here, and I'll show you this a little bit closer right here. You're going to get samples of these unique specimens, and there's only one spot on the board that has them. When you're playing in a solo game, a couple of them will not be out because that's for 4 players or 3 players, etc. And they'll already be in the museum, which I'll talk about in a second. You can also play down tents and make encampments. And when you do that, you'll be removing tents from this spot, which you can see here. And as you remove them, not only do you get to get the reward for placing it on the board, but you also will potentially unlock a one-time action on your board here. Again, very Euro-like. And with those correspondence, like I said, the more you send out, the more likely you are to exhaust one of your 4 piles or one of your 3 piles with 4 correspondent letters in there. And when you do, you get a one-time action associated with that. There are also different objectives, which I am doing poorly on right now. And when you meet the condition of the objective, you basically flip it over and put it into one of these different spots here, and those spots will give you an instant benefit and points at the end of the game. And you can get more of those objectives. You can get a lot of objectives if you want by going to this objective area, okay? The final thing that I haven't really talked about is the whole point of getting these specimens is to go to the museum and deliver them. And when you deliver them, you play out a tile on that area and you'll get a certain amount of money and a certain amount of advancement on the theory of evolution track, which is a multiplier that will multiply a number of points based on how many complete rows that you have finished in this game plus 2. So basically up to 6 times this multiplier, which can go all the way up to 15 and even 16 if you end up getting there. So you can really push hard on that to get just a tremendous amount of points in that regard. The time track on the expanded side also features penalties. So the more time you spend in adventures, the more expensive certain actions can be, the more they may penalize you for taking them. Although you can get time back by landing on icons like this, where you gain time and you go backwards on the track. You also will get a penalty in the points at the end of the game, depending how deeply you are in debt from the time standpoint. And then you have these special actions, which are basically varied, and there are a whole slew of them in this game, a whole slew of tiles you can see here, that will vary from game to game, which will let you do something specific and more powerful if you've unlocked it and if you meet the seal requirement. How do I unlock that? Well, I do that by taking this little action over here, which allows you to put under the magnifying glass one of these little lens tokens, pay the number of coins necessary, and get that action for free. And then if any time during the game someone else, or Alfred I should say, lands, your solo opponent, on that spot, takes that spot, you get a bonus coin from the bank. If you land on his spot or use it, he gets a bonus coin from the bank. There is also a penalty for being in the same area. So if I play my guy here and he plays this guy here, for instance, we're both in the same book, and that means to play it in the same book, you have to pay a 3-coin penalty, okay? And so money is really tight in this game because of that penalty system, and it will be a hindrance for what you want to do. So you got all sorts of different things that you to consider. The final thing to consider are these crew cards, and the crew cards will unlock certain one-time bonuses that you get throughout the game, and they're varied, if you have a single worker that matches all of those requirements. So if I had a single worker, for instance, that has 3 green wax seals and 2 blue wax seals, I would get this specific one-time bonus. I'd flip the card over and that would be it. And these are pretty powerful and nice. And I also didn't really make clear, as you advance the different seals, not only do you get to take stronger actions, but you get different proficiencies. After I get these filled in here, I will get the gray proficiencies, or the silver ones, which means on any action I take with that worker, I'll get some modifier to it. And if I get the gold one, I'll get even more juicy modifiers that help me to do even more flexible things, or score more points, or get more powerful actions if I can get this worker completely maxed out. Plus, at the end of the game, I might even get a total of 7 or 3 points, depending. So there's a ton of breadth to this game, but I would say that none of it is particularly complicated. But what that means is you are forced to read through about 45 or so pages of rules to be able to play the solo game. The expansion adds a few more, then they've got some mini expansions in here. And again, this is the collector's edition, I should have made that clear, which has a lot going for it with the additional expansions, etc. So let's go ahead and play a couple turns, and then I'll demonstrate to you kind of how this game goes out. So Alfred, the AI, is always going to take the first turn. He's controlled by this deck of cards here, which is rather small. It's not very big, plus these two. And that makes it pretty easy to understand what he's going to do. But he comes in 4 difficulty levels, and the difficulty levels will change what's on his board slightly, but also change what happens when he moves his traveling worker, or his bonus worker, across these card spaces here and here. The points, the actions, the things get stronger the more you ratchet up the difficulty level. So I like that because once you get down the AI system, which is not too complicated, although it could use a player aid with regards to prioritizations and how do you choose, because sometimes you choose the top, sometimes you choose a specific worker, sometimes you choose the bottom worker. It does take a little while to get used to that, and your first game is going to be slow going as you try to figure out, how do I choose and where does he go? Okay, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty intuitive. It could use a small player aid. And this player aid that they give you for the game is more of a player reference. It's not really an aid. All of these things spell out to you what these different cards mean and the symbols and everything else, but they don't exactly tell you how to play any of the round structures or anything like that. They do a great job telling you every single icon that you can find in this game, which is good, which is necessary, and I appreciate that from a Euro standpoint, because sometimes you get into iconography soup and you don't know which end is up. So they did a good job in that regard here. Anyway, let's go ahead and play a couple turns, and I'll show you what's going on. Again, I told you the game's played in 5 rounds. Alfred goes first. So the first thing you're going to do is see, did Alfred have 2 cards face up that featured the delivery icons? If that is the case, you shuffle all his cards, okay? So that's an always the condition you just check right at the beginning of every action he's going to take. Then we flip one over, and we take actions from top to bottom. When he does one action, he will stop. He won't continue on. So this action says he's going to go ahead and try to do one of those magnifying diary actions, I think it's called, where he will try to unlock a space, okay? And he will do that if he has the coins, and you can't see down here, but I will show you. Alfred keeps track of his coins on a coin track over here. And if he gets more than 12 coins, it will start to bump him up on this bonus track, so he can't just keep stacking money for no reason, and he can run out of coins, and that would hamper you. So they did a good job there where he really does not get an abundance of one resource or another, which I think is good. Okay, so anyway, he's going to take his bottom worker because of the rules. And again, that's the prioritization thing. He's going to place it in this spot here, and he is going to he's going to unlock one of these spots. And the one he's going to unlock is the one where his top worker has the most opportunity to take the biggest action, which in this case is the green one. So he's going to place it here. He's going to pay the 5 coins, which is what was set on the board, to take it. And he's going to take the action. He's going to move 4 spaces with his adventurer. He's always going to take the longest route. And if he doesn't cross any of these adventure spots, what he is going to do is he is going to take the final 2 actions where he traveled. It's just part of the nuances of him. Normally, you just take where you land. He will always take the final 2. So let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this spot he landed on, he finished up this track. He will immediately get 4 coins, and this is over with. All right, plus he gets the 3 points, okay? Plus he will get the specimen, because those were his last 2 things that he did. So we mark the specimen by putting one of these little clear tokens on his board that corresponds to that specimen, and then he gets the 4 coins plus the 3 points. So we'll move him up 4 on his track on those, and move him up 3 points right here. 1, 2, 3. And he is now done with this track. What you can't probably see up there is that there's little arrows on each of these paths that say which way you can go. And there's forks and branches in the road and everything else. But once you get to a spot where it's over with, like right here, you're finished, and you have to get more workers on the board, or more adventurers, explorers, or whatever, to keep that going. And you do that by moving your ship. Okay, my turn. So I can move any one of my 4 workers, and what I want to still work towards is getting some of these objectives. So I want to get one of those free blue seals right here, but it's not free completely. Even though it's free over here, I'm in this penalty zone for the time track, so I still have to cough up 1 coin, unfortunately, to get that blue seal. I'm going to put the blue seal over here on this spot. That's going to help me get 2 blue and 1 green. And that's going to be helpful because at least it bumps up my ability to do better on the ship spots with the one that I've unlocked previously with the 2 blue. I have to pay 1 coin penalty because of that. I don't know why they call it a penalty. They should just call it a cost, but they call it a penalty in this game. And then my turn is almost over. I have the ability now to check to see if I've done any objectives. And lo and behold, I have. This objective here says as long as you have 2 wax blue seals, wilds do not count, and you've placed 1 tent, you can put this down on any of these spots and unlock it. And the one I want to unlock is this one right here, which will reduce the penalty I have to pay for being in the same book section as the opponent by 1. So instead of having to pay 3 every time, I now only need to pay 2 for the rest of the game. And that's really helpful. Okay, so we're going to then draw another card for him. And it is another one of those unlock actions, but he will not do a second one. He only does 1 per round, if his guy is there. He doesn't do another one. And I think even if your guy is there, he only does the 1. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, he's going to skip down to the next thing, which is placing a worker on the left side of one of those specialty action cards, which he's going to put it right there. He never takes that action when you do that. Instead, he will move this many spots on the bonus track. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it loops around, not only does he activate this spot right here, but he also gets the 6 points. So he's going to get 6 more points, and he is going to then move 3 spaces with his adventure. Well, in this case, because he doesn't have another adventure yet, he's out of luck. He doesn't get to do that. There is no compensation. When you can't complete the action for him, that's it. So he didn't have a worker. He will get another worker as soon as his ship moves next time, but it hasn't happened yet. All right, so it comes back to me now. And what I would like to do is, again, continue to avoid paying penalties if at all possible. And I like the idea of continuing to move my ship because I've been kind of focusing on that, and I want to get past this. Plus here, I'm going to get 2 points for every single time that I've spent. And so the more I do adventuring and stuff, the better in that regard. So what I think I'm going to do, just again to continue this push, is because I have 2 of those blue, I'm going to put this over here, and that's going to allow me to go 2 spaces, all right, with, 3 spaces because I have 2 wax seals. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And when I do that, I unlock a worker in the green section. So now I've got a little work, I say worker, I'm sorry. I lock an adventure in the green section. So I've got a guy in the green section, which is good. This will allow me to, continue to explore in these areas, which I want to. Okay, so with that in mind, then my turn is over. I don't have any conditions I can meet there. That's it. We flip another one of his cards. Now he does a delivery. So he wants to do a delivery action in anything he hasn't delivered as long as he has a specimen. Well, he has 2 specimens on the board, and so he's going to pay the 3 coin penalty to deliver a second one. He's going to do 1 at a time. 1, 2, 3, so there's the 3 coin penalty. And this is how the specimen delivery works. So first we're going to deliver this snake over here. He is going to gain this coin because he's the first one to deliver to that row. And then he is going to get money and advancement on these tracks depending on what tiles are there. It does not count for the tile he laid. So he gets 1, 2, 3, 4 coins. And then he will get 1, 2 advancement on the theory of evolution track, moving his multiplier to 6. Now he'll do that for the second one that he has unlocked. So he's creaming me here. He's really gotten ahead of me in this game on this track, and that's going to be detrimental, I think. So he's going to lay this down. He's going to get that penalty, or that bonus again, 12 coins. And then he is going to get 1, 2, 3 on the theory of evolution track. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3 coins. Well, he's already maxed out at 12. You can't see that. But what he will do is, because he's maxed out, he will move up on the bonus spaces, 3 spaces, 1 space for every coin he can't get. 1, 2, 3. Because he crossed that, 6 more points. All right, so that jerk is really taken off. Now, unlike these other spots with these circular magnifying glasses, where any number of players can go, but if they go there, you have to pay a penalty. And these spots, these circles, where only one player can go regardless, and you may have to pay a penalty if you're in the same book. These square ones, there is no penalty, and any number of players can go there whenever they want. So I've got a couple of things to consider. Number one, I'm fairly cash poor. Number two, there is an objective that I could use if I unlock it. And that would be this one, which means if I've spent 5 time, I could use that right away. So that looks pretty good to me. And because I need to deliver, see, what would be nice is if I could find a way to, I just don't think I'm going to find a better set of actions there. So I am going to do this. I'm going to take this wild, and I'm going to play in here. I'm going to get 2 coins right away. 1, 2. And then I'm going to take this bonus action right here. And this one I can immediately fill. Now you're allowed to have 2 objectives, bonus objectives, out here at any time. They can be either color. And then besides that, you have to start like pre-picking where they're going to go. It's not a big deal. It's just a little nuance of the rule. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this down, and I'm going to put this in this space, which allows me to research any single specimen that I want. And I've got a reason for that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to research a specimen that has not been placed, and one that I have I'm not going to get, neither is he, so I don't have to worry about him taking it. It's going to be this turtle right here. Okay, so we've laid down the turtle. All right, my turn's over. Now we go to his turn, last worker for him. He's going to make that second delivery. Well, he doesn't have anything else to deliver. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He does have the delivery. He does have the turtle. My mistake. I don't want the turtle. I didn't realize that. I'll do something else that he skipped. He skipped the lizard. He skipped, well, he got the snake. I'm going to get the bird. I'll do one way down here. So let's do this lizard right there. That way he won't most likely get that. Okay. Anyway, he's going to deliver again. So he's already delivered 1, but he could only deliver 2. I'm sorry, he already delivered 2 last time, but he actually had 3 that he could do. So he's going to take his final worker. He's going to go over here. Again, no penalty for crowding the spot. And he is going to, so he is going to basically take, let me make sure of something here. Hold on, I want to make sure that this means exactly what I think it means, which means I get to research that specimen right when I take it, because that would throw everything off if I did it wrong, and that would also be not showing you the correct way. We don't want to do that either. Active player researches a token on any specimen on the player's board that matches any specimen token that found on the island with that player's explorer. So that does not do what I want, because that is, no, wait. Okay, no, I could do that, but I have to be on that island. So in order to do what I was doing, the only specimen on that island is this bird, which kind of stinks. Yeah, so that's the distinction. The island here is going to be this one. But we're going to do it. We're going to do the bird because I need this plan to work. So yeah, it's a little bit of waste. But I guess that when I move, I can move past it and just skip that action space. No big deal. Okay, sorry about that. So now he is going to do this one again, where he is going to research. He's going to deliver a specimen. He's going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 coins, and he's going to get 2 on the theory of evolution. So he's really creaming me in that regard. And then those, I said 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 more on the bonus. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 points plus 3 on the trail. And he is, at least he's stuck there. He hasn't moved his ship, so that's a plus. I'm getting lucky there, so he's kind of wasting a little bit of that action, and that'll help me to at least maintain some competitiveness, even though you don't see it. Okay, so finally my turn. I'm going to put this over here, and again, don't have to pay any coin penalties. I'm going to research these 2 that he hasn't. Okay, The first one is going to be this one up here. And that will give me 1, 2, 3, 4 on this book track here. So that puts me up to 7. And I get 2 coins, which I'll gladly take. And then in this game, you can spend what you gain even in that same turn. I already had 3, but I'm going to spend the 3 to deliver again. And I'm going to deliver this bird over here. And we're going to go, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the book track, putting me kind of back in at least competitive spot. And 1 coin, and this was the first time that anybody delivered. These were delivered previous in the setup. So just this coin plus another one to the board. Okay, so that will finish our turns. Now we go to the reward phase. So the way the reward phase works is first we take a look at, did anybody do any majority correspondence placing? They didn't. So these don't pay out, nothing happens. Then we go down to here and see who passed the beagle and who didn't. Well, I passed the beagle, so I don't have to take any minus points. So I take, and you take minus points based on what you got here. So I have 5 on the 5th space. So 5 times 2 is 10. So I gain 10 points from that. That puts me up to 22. He does not worry about these specifically. He has a multiplier on his board, which in this case is 4. So 4 times 3, which is the round we're in, is 12. But he is behind. His special rule, though, is actually, no, he is just behind, period. He doesn't have anything over there. So he goes 12 minus the 3 because of where he is, and that will put him at only 9 points. So he will only get 9 out of that. So that is scored. Then the beagle goes up here to round 4. So you can see he hits the road. You really got to be on him to keep up. And then we finish the cleanup, which would be taking these out, resetting these, clearing the top of these, moving them up. Now, I will say one thing about these deluxe wax seals. While they do look great, they stick to each other because they're probably an elastomer or a TPE of some sort. And so they're tacky, which stinks because when you draw them out of the bag, they always seem to come in pairs. And so that doesn't make it as random as you'd like. And you have this little bag here and you, oops, shoot. And you shake it up. And even though they hop out of the board sometimes on you like that, again, they hop out in pairs. I don't love that. I think that's just one of those things that they weren't intending, so I'm not going to blame them. But hopefully they'll get less sticky with time. Okay, so we reset that. I did that. Yeah, did I move all those up and I put them? Yes, I did. Okay, and then we bring our workers back. And basically that is the round. So you do that 5 times. And then at the end of the game, you'll score for a couple of end game bonuses based on a few things. So all the icons that have this little book with an arrow on it, which I'll show you right here, everything like that will score at the end of the game. So you will make up a decent amount of space between you and the AI by the end. You have to score penalties, you score this multiplier over here, so there are a lot of end game points, but you do get a decent amount of points throughout the game with regards to this. And that's it. Oh, and by the way, we move this down, signifying now his actions are set up for round number 4. Okay, let me tell you what I think of it. So, Darwin's Journey, in my opinion, is a delight to play, solo-wise. The game has a lot of different things that you have to learn. So there is a breadth of rules. They're all fairly manageable. There are not a lot of conditions. They're pretty straightforward. There's just a lot of them. Once you get through those, there's a ton of fun stuff to explore in this game. There are a lot of cool things you can do. You can go on lots of different paths. You can score in lots of different ways. This entire box over here is full of, and again, this is the collector's edition, but it's full of variable setup tiles, changing the actions, changing the goals, changing the penalties, changing the samples, changing everything. And I played with a specific setup for this scenario number 1 of the expansion on the back of the board, the Fireland expansion. But you could do it randomly. You could do, there's multiple scenarios there. There's multiple scenarios with other little mini expansions and such that come in here. Just a ton of great content. And even the base game itself is they still have plenty of stuff to do. Don't get me wrong, even though I'm showing the expansion, there was still plenty of choices and plenty of actions and different things. But there's just a lot of great content. If you like worker placements where workers can get stronger and more specialized and you can do different things like that, this game has a ton to offer there. It's just fun to try to do different things and score different ways. And the choices are not easy because there's an economic system that's tight with those coin penalties. There's a worker specialization where I'm only qualified to do certain things. There's a blocking component of where is Alfred and where am I and am I going to go there, or am I blocking myself because I've already taken this action? Is it worth the extra money to go again? Can I get some of these objectives? If I can get some objectives, then I can go ahead and unlock stuff. Can I, work on my crew cards? If I can get the crew cards unlocked, that's a big, strong bonus. Just a ton of cool stuff. If I focus heavily on getting my players more specialized, every action I take after that with them or my workers will be better. I will get more out of it. Very cool. So how much do I spend kind of getting wax seals versus, actually advancing the game and getting specimens and such? Just really, really cool. I also appreciate that on the easy level, the first time I played this game with the base game, I was able to beat the AI. On this next level, we'll see what happens. I haven't finished the game yet. I just went right from playing it halfway to doing this. But I think this AI is definitely going to be competitive. But I like to at least win on easy. That helps me know that I did something right. And it's not like I'm just going to get blown away. Okay, when there's 4 difficulty levels, I always feel like I should win the first one on easy and then get defeated in my second game on the next level up and then have to really kind of, work from there. I just love this game. There's so many cool things going on. And it's also a delight to look at. The artwork is very, very good. It's crisp. It's colorful, even though it's got an old world feel to it. They did a good job peppering in color here and there to make it just look more fun. The only component issue I really have is the deluxe wax seals. And if I didn't like them that much, I could always use the base game ones, which are cardboard and which would be just fine. It wouldn't stick to each other, but I like the look. So I'm sorry, I like those nice components. The quest mechanism of going on those adventures poses difficult choices to you. Do you go with the big bonus or do you go with a lesser bonus that costs less in time but also gives you the little token that you need to get more of those end game bonuses? Just a ton of things to consider, which is really fun. Plus, the more you focus on the main thing of gathering specimens and going to that museum, the more you're going to have this massive amount of points at the end based on that multiplier, which I think is important because even though there's so much to do, it draws you back to the theme of, I'm still going to this island to try to do this, to research these things. And I'm not saying if you don't do that, you won't win. I have no idea, but it seems like you would be neglecting a significant amount of points by not making those deliveries. And you probably can't win this game without it. My guess, you got to do what you're supposed to be doing, I think. But it is not a linear strategy. It's not like, well, I just do that and that's all I can do. I mean, there's so many other things, so many other branching paths and cool stuff to look at. Even the paths in the islands branch. They give you choices. Do I want to go this way? Is the long way, or this way, a short way? And I can catch up with this with the ship. Do I want to stop and gather a specimen, or do I want to skip the specimen and go to another spot, which gives me the resources I desperately need? Do I need to set up the camp? Do I get unlock the bonuses on the board, etc.? Just so much cool stuff. Can't say enough about this one. I really am enjoying it. It gives me the feel of a little bit of Maracaibo. From a standpoint of the ocean and exploration and kind of traveling feel, but there's no rondel here. It's just thematically I feel like that because in that game you are choosing spots to land on. Your adventure track is somewhat the same as this island gathering track and such, but very different game, of course. I think this is worker placement. That's a rondel. Just in general, lots to like about this game. I can't think of anything except for one negative. Setting it up does take a while. There's lots of components to put out. There's lots of things to set up. It just does take a while. The first time I set this up, it took me almost 20 minutes to do it through the directions. Less the next time because I kind of knew what I was doing and I didn't have to follow the steps. But you're going to have to invest a little bit. You're going to have to read that rule book. You probably have to read it twice or read it and watch a video. Maybe you'll get enough out of what I show to see the game flow, and I hope that's true. Because even after I read it, I still had to watch a video to see the kind of play come out. But it's well worth it, I think. So if you want a medium to medium heavy experience here because of the amount of choices, not because of the complexity of each action, this is a good game for you. If you like a little bit more of a laissez-faire game with that isn't going to give you a bunch of AP, you might be you better be careful, because there could be a lot of analysis paralysis in what you want to do. And I also think that because of that, this game plays really well just with you and the solo. If there was a lot of people to play and you had somebody suffering from AP, this game could certainly drag. Even though I'm just looking at the solo, I love how fast it is to take his action to get back to the thinking job and the puzzly actions that I'm trying to figure out. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to play in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.